All right, what is up, folks? This is again Lunocraft in the game, and I'm going to show you guys Botania. And this is my absolute most favorite mod in the world. It has so many of those little items that doesn't really do something big, but it's going to drastically help you out, and it's a great experience. So let's go ahead and get on into it. All right, so this mod can be a little overwhelming at first. The whole general premises of the whole mod is just like how flowers and plants create photosynthesis, they're going to create mana as well. So the very first thing that you're ever going to want to do, and you can kind of switch this in with the second thing, is you want to get yourself some flowers. Now, the flowers that you're looking for is not regular flowers. They're going to be called mystical flowers, and you can tell they're mystical visually just by the little glowy bits that come off of it. You also see if you look at it on the top left with one of the mods that we have, it'll tell you what the item is. So here we have mystical white flowers, which are incredibly important. We have mystical yellow and blue and things like that. And you definitely want to gather a bunch of these up front. I would say at least two is a minimum, but if you can gather like 4 to 10, that's going to be making things a lot easier for you. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want is you want to get a sapling. It can be any sapling, it doesn't really matter. Even some of the modded trees or anything like that. Any sapling is going to be fine. But the harder one's going to be the book, especially with our leather making system. But if you have any questions or are curious about that, just let me know. I already have a tutorial for it. But yeah, so let's going to go ahead and craft this. Now, you're going to take a book and you're going to put a sapling together. And you're going to get the Lexica Botania. This is your manual go-to Bible for Botania, and it's absolutely wonderful. So if you open it, you're going to get to a page. You're going to want to hit escape or right click, and you're going to get to this page right here. And this is going to be all the information and nice, beautiful categories and things like that. The first one's going to be some basics. These are going to be how you kind of get started and some of the advanced stuff that you can get to later. You have mana manipulation. You have the mana pool here for storage, the mana spreader for moving things around. There's a bunch of other little things around. If you have any questions, again, let me know. The mana splitter is very important as well. So if you get into it and when you start doing it, just let me know. Especially when you have a good mana system, that's going to be incredibly important. You have your generating floor, which is going to be all the different flowers that you can use to generate mana. You have your functional floor, which is incredibly important because these are what you use mana for to have functionality. So like the agricarnation here will grow your plants faster. So like wheat, potatoes, all that wonderful stuff. They have the clayconia. So if you're struggling to get clay, you can actually turn sand into clay. The daffodil here will push mobs away like a little fan, things like that. There's just a bunch of different flowers that you can have. The most important one that I do recommend just striving to get to is the Jada Amaranthus. Now, the Jada Amaranthus here will actually take mana and generate mystical flowers for you in a nearby vicinity. So you don't have to go around traveling all over the place to kind of find some flowers. Save you a lot of time, and you're more likely to get flowers that might be hard to find. Next, you're going to actually have your natural apparatus. These are just little items that you can have that's going to make things a lot easier. You can make like really good potions. They're essentially the same potions, but you get an extra use out of them, and they're a little bit stronger. You can craft lower tier versions of it or higher tier versions. It's not just a basic version that Minecraft provides. You have yourself the hovering hourglass. So if you're an automation person, you like machines and you like running things, what this does is based on how much sand that you put into it, it will give a redstone tick. So it's really powerful if you want something to kind of happen every once in a while and you don't want to have to manage it every 2 seconds and do it yourself. You have yourself mystical items, which are really great things. You have the mana steel equipment that is you you craft mana steel equipment, and as long as you have mana in your inventory, it will repair the item back using up your mana. So as long as you have mana, you can keep on mining, but it's at the same level of as iron. So it's a little bit weaker than diamond, but they're not going to break. So with good enchantments, it can be very powerful, but again, it's not going to be as powerful as diamond, but they're not going to break. You have things like the Rod of Lands that will put a dirt block down for mana. You have the Rod of Seas that will put down water for that. You have the Rod of Skies, which is fun. I'm falling, but it shoots you way up in the air and then it puts you down. But you're not going to take fall damage, which is wonderful. It's just good for if you have a really tall mountain or you just want a good view of the area and things like that. It's really cool. So there's a lot of really fun items in Botania. You even have one which you can get to in late game Botania. It creates a rainbow bridge for you that temporarily will be there, but it'll disappear. So if you have a really large gap or you want to travel between mountains, it's the little things that Botania does that makes the gameplay a lot more fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, let's say you've already got yourself a few of these. What you're going to do is go into your Lexical Botania, go to Basics, and you want a Petal Apothecary. This is how you actually create flowers. And it's going to be this little device here, and you put your ingredients in, you toss in a seed, and you'll get something back. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to grab the basic one, but you can even dye it if you have a certain look to your house. And you can just kind of customize it there. So what you want with it is you want to go ahead and get yourself a bucket of water. Okay, the bucket of water, you want to fill it in, and then we're going to have ourselves some little petals here. And again, they have to be mystical petals. Okay, so now that we have our water in, we have our petals, we're going to toss it in. You can see the HUD is starting to display what's in there. So we look away, look back, you'll see the flowers. And again, Q is the button to drop something. So we're going to put 4 in. And you can see it's now asking for a seed. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a seed here, and we're going to just drop it. And voila, it uses up the ingredients, and it uses up the water, and we have ourselves a pure daisy. Now, the pure daisy is going to be the most important thing. That's how you actually get into Botania. So my pure daisy disappeared on me. Well, anyways, so you get a pure daisy, and it will actually be this guy right here, and you place it down. What that's going to do is unlock the building of the foundation of Botania. It's a mouthful, but I'll show you what it does. If you take stone, right, and you place it within the adjacent blocks of the pure daisy, within a minute, it will turn into living rock here. And same thing as wood, it will turn into living wood. And I'll go ahead and show you just what the animation looks like so you know it's working. So you see the little sparkles coming off? So within a minute, that's actually going to turn into living rock here. Now you want to get yourself 5 living rock. Okay, and then you're going to craft yourself a mana pool. This stores 200 or 2 million mana. That sounds like a lot. It's actually not that much. Um, you for a lot of the items, especially late tier, you're going to use that up really quickly. So it's good to have a lot of mana stored up. So now that we have ourselves a way to be able to store mana, we want to be able to manipulate it. I'm going to get into generating it after I go over this, because without being able to manipulate it, you're not going to be able to store it or generate it and be able to keep it. So if you go over here to your crafting station, use this book as a little reminder. You click this. This is just an image for being able to craft, and I'll show you how that works. So if you type in spreader, right, it'll be the mana spreader. It'll search for essentially what the keyword is, and see, come on, there we go. It cycles through, so you kind of have to click it when it's over it. To create a mana spreader, you're going to need 6 living wood, 1 gold ingot, and one of the mushrooms, mystical mushrooms, which will be found in caves, and they act the same as just a petal. And again, to craft petal, you just craft a flower and you get 2 petals. But you go ahead and use any petal and you'll get yourself a mana spreader, which I have right here. Now with it, you'll see right here, I have a mana spreader and I have a mana pool, but there's no way of being able to control it. And that's where you want a wand. Okay, and that's going to be the next step. So what we want to be able to make a wand is we're going to go ahead and get ourselves 6 living wood. I'll put that there. And we're going to make ourselves sticks. Just like we would in Minecraft using planks, we're going to use living wood, not living wood planks, which you can craft like this. Living wood and living rock has a lot of decorative things. In fact, actually, let me just show you one real quick. Boom. Just like you would have stone turning into stone bricks, you have living rock turning into living rock bricks. So it's a lot of decorative stuff in Botania as well, which is absolutely beautiful looking when you build something out of it. But we're going to go ahead and get those sticks going, and we're going to place them around like this. Now next we're going to take petals and we're going to put them here. The fun thing is that I love what the modders did is you can use different flowers. So let's say this is a pink one, that's going to reflect in what your wand actually looks like. So you can have some customization with the colors of your wand if you so please. Okay, so we have our wand, we have ourselves a mana spreader, and I'm going to go ahead and just place down the mana spreader so you can kind of see what happens to it. So you can see it's pointing the wrong direction. So we want to be able to fix it. You can do that with the wand, but I want to give a heads up. There's 2 modes. There's bind mode, where you select the item, you select directly what you want it to connect to, and it'll automatically do it. Then there's function mode, which for the most part doesn't have a purpose. Even with what is has built for, it doesn't really matter. So what function mode does is it faces it in the direction you're kind of hitting it. So you can kind of aim it that way, but tell it's really difficult and very unpredictable. So we're going to go into bind mode. So we're going to hold down shift and right click the item. You can see the little box highlight, and we're going to right click what we want to point to. And you can see it automatically adjusted itself. And if we put our little crosshairs over top of it, it will highlight what it's connected to. This will happen with flowers as well. So when you connect a flower to a mana spreader, if you hover over the flower, it'll highlight the spreader. All right, so let's go ahead and go over how to generate mana now that we know how to manipulate it and we know how to store it. So we go over to the generating mana. There's 3 flowers that you can use, but there's really only one that you're going to want. So the hydrangeas are cool. If you create a system like this, it'll eat water and then be able to generate mana. But the hydrangeas die, so it's not a very reliable source. So you have the begonia here and the endoflame. The begonia, if you're into bees, you can sacrifice the bee drones to generate mana. But if you're not into bees, you want to go with the endoflame. So the way that the endoflame works is that any fuel dropped in a 7x7x7 area will be consumed, and it will produce 3 mana for every 2 ticks for half the fuel's burn time. Now Minecraft actually works on ticks, not by seconds, but there's a direct ratio. So for example, 40 seconds will be 800 ticks. Okay, so I'm going to give a quick little example just to kind of display thing or kind of help out with this because it can be kind of a lot, but if you're going to be creating an automated system, this is important. So let's say you have an item and it burns for 100 seconds. So we want to find out what half that fuel's burn time is. So if it burns for 100 seconds, the half of that's 50, so you got 50 seconds, right? And that's how long it's going to take for Botania or the endoflame to be able to break it down. Next, you want to divide it by 2. The reason why is because it's every 2 ticks, so every other tick. You want to find out what's going to be the important ticks that's going to give you mana. And then you multiply by 3 because you're going to get 3 mana. Okay? So start off with 100, divide it by 2, right? Now you're at 50. Divide it by 2 one more time, you're at 25. Then you multiply by 3, and you got 75. So you're going to get 75 mana for half of the fuel's burn time, which was 50. So it'll take you 50 seconds to get 75 mana. Now those are made up numbers, but doing a little bit of math like that, you can create automated systems or systems where you can store and have it drop fuel every few seconds and then have it store mana. Okay, so now that we went through that headache of math, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to actually use it. Okay, go to generating flora, you go to endoflame, and you'll see the recipe if you scroll through. You're going to get 2 brown petals, a light gray petal, and then a red petal. And you're going to put it in a petal apothecary. Remember, you need water, these ingredients, and then drop in a seed, and it'll give you the endoflame. All right, so let's go ahead and drop down ourselves the endoflame. And we're going to put it right next to the mana spreader here. Now, if you already have a mana spreader set down, it will automatically find one, okay? But let's pretend that we didn't actually already have it. So if we look over it with our wand, well, let's do this, fix the HUD. See, it's going to say, oh, there's no mana spreader. And you can see on the right of the little mana bar there. So let's plop down that, and we're going to attach this to the mana pool because we want the mana to go into there. Let's set this to daytime too. Makes it a little easier. And then we're going to right click, shift right click, and shift right click that. So now if we put our little crosshairs over top, you can see that the mana spreader is highlighted, and we'll do that to the mana spreader, and you can see that the pool is highlighted. So that means any mana that this creates will go into here. You cannot take any generating flowers and put the mana directly into here. You have to put it into a mana spreader that will then put it into a pool. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find some fuel for it. And I have here a block of coal. Okay? So remember now, we have ourselves, this will be 16,000 ticks. Okay? So we're going to take that number, divide it by 2. Okay? That's going to give us 8,000. Okay? It's going to take 8,000 seconds. Or 8,000 ticks worth of seconds. Okay? The direct ratio for that is 20 ticks per second. Okay? I forgot to mention that before. But remember, 20 ticks per second. So we take 16,000 and we divide it by 2. That's 8,000. Okay, remember 20 ticks per second, divide that by 20, that's a total of 400 seconds. Okay, that actually equates to almost 7 minutes. It's 6.67 minutes long. So if you create an automated system, one block of coal is going to be 7 minutes. Okay, but for 7 minutes, what you're looking at is you are going to be working 12,000 mana out of one block of coal. Okay, that's just doing some quick math for y'all. But let's go ahead and drop this in there. So when we drop it, boom, look at it. It's not gonna, sometimes it'll have a little red flame over top of it, and that's how you know that it's working. But the easier way is just use your wand and hold down right click on the mana spreader. And the way the mana spreaders work is you can see it's generating some mana, and then boom, it's gone. And that's a mana burst, okay? That's gonna be important to know, but later on, ask me when you get to it if you keep going with that, because you'll be working with lenses to do some fancy stuff with the mana spreader. And you can see here, the mana is filling up in the mana pool. All right, so that is how you generate mana, and then you manipulate it and store it into a mana pool. Okay, there's one more thing that sort of relates to mana storage and mana manipulation that I definitely need to go over, because anytime that you have an item in your inventory that uses mana, for example, the mana steel here, that as you mine or use it, it uses mana to repair it. So you need a mana tablet. And the way that you craft a mana tablet, if we go all the way back to our mana manipulation, there's the mana tablet. If you scroll through, you need a diamond or you need an ender pearl. And you just drop that item into a mana pool. As long as it has enough mana, it will give you that item. And then you put living rock around and you get mana tablet. And the way you use a mana tablet or get mana into it, if you hover over the mana pool with your wand, you'll see it says how much mana is in it, first of all, but then it will tell you mana item, put your mana into the mana pool. If you shift right click, it'll say, hey, mana pool, put your mana into this mana item. There's a lot of items that will hold mana. Mana tablet is not the only one, but this one is the easiest to use. And that's how you do it. Okay, so there's two more things I'm going to go over, and it won't take that long for this one right here. The baubles. It's a really funny word, but the baubles are the most important thing of Botania, at least in my eye, because they make things so much easier. So we got ourselves if we go to the baubles, and we have ourselves, I'm going to scroll over, we have the ring of magnetization. Now I already have that on. But what the ring of magnetization does is, let's say we drop an item, right? Take a second just because I dropped it, but boom, it comes to me. It pulls items to you. So if you're mining over top of lava and you don't want to lose that island, or don't want to have it fall into the lava, boom, that's going to pull it to you. It's also going to make it a lot easier for cleaning up and making sure you don't accidentally lose items. When you die, you keep your baubles. Okay, remember that. So if you have the ring of magnetization, you go up to your gravestone and you punch it, all the items will just immediately flow to you, and it makes it a lot easier. The other one, which is going to take runes, which I'm going to show you here in just a moment, is the Sojourner's Sash. The Sojourner's Sash, as long as you have mana, remember the mana tablet here, as long as you have mana, oh, I have to get out of creative mode. Here we go. This is your baubles right here. Just close that. Click on that. It'll show you your baubles that you have. Sojourner's Sash is the reason why I'm sprinting so fast, and if I walk over, I'm not jumping. It automatically climbs anything that is one block tall. So for travel, it makes things a lot easier, but it does eat up mana. So you have to have stored mana. Remember that? You got to have that mana tablet. Alrighty, last but not least are the runes, which are so important. They're used to craft just about most things in Botania. Hi, Enderman. See ya. So, for example, let's say we want to create a Rosa Arcana. That will eat your experience points as long as you're around it, and it will convert it to mana for you. So if you don't want experience or you got so much of it, just need to get rid of it and want a little extra mana, there you go. That's going to take the Rune of Mana. This is one of the more expensive ones, but it's really not too bad. You're going to need a mana pearl, and then you need 5 mana ingots. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that. Now, just remember, though, that in order to get one of these mana items, you just take the item, go up to your pool. If it has a check mark, toss it in. Or if you have the check mark that says you have enough mana and you toss it in, and there you go, you have yourself a mana item. Ingot, powder, pearl. If the powder is used, like dye or sugar or something like that, don't use redstone or gunpowder like it sometimes recommends. Okay, so if we go to our Lexica Botania, remember, 5 mana steel ingots, and 1 mana pearl. So we're going to go ahead and plop that in there. Again, I'm in creative mode, so there we go. When I right click one more time, it's going to give a little lightning sound. Ooh, that's how you know it's working. Okay, and then you'll see with the little HUD, it'll say X, which means you don't have the mana, it's not filled. Next is the rune, and you'll see the little progress bar going around it, and that's how you know how far it is along to actually creating the rune. Now it's 3 different tiers. Tier 1 is going to be yourself the 4 elements. Tier 2 is going to be the seasons, and Tier 3 is going to be the 7 deadly sins. The Rune of Mana doesn't really fit into the whole ball game, but it's really Tier 1. It's just a really expensive Tier 1. So once you have it done, you see the lightning just striking it, it's ready to go. You put down a living rock, and then you hit it with a wand, and voila! You have yourself a Rune of Mana. So there you go. That is, for the most part, the whole beginning of Botania and all the major things that you really need to know. If you do have any questions, just please feel free to ask me. Again, I am LunoCraft in the game or on the server, and I'm always more than happy to help out with Botania. It is my absolute favorite mod, and there's a lot to gain from it. It's mostly does help out with the little things in Minecraft that you never would think, but it's significant as you're playing through and you're experiencing it. It's hard to go back once you do it because it is so helpful. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you guys on the server.